Up next on The Bottom Line, Montgomery County kicks off International Underground Railroad Month.
A legacy that we were just not taught, but a legacy that we experienced through the actions of our elders.
A somber ceremony as leaders commemorate the 20th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks.
We won't miss him very much.
But he's a hero.
He is a hero to all of us.
And a county partnership that is providing food for thousands of Montgomery County residents.
And so this crisis really forced us to think outside of the box, to partner in new and really amazing ways.
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Susan Kennedy. This is the third year that the state of Maryland will recognize September as International Underground Railroad Month. And to kick off this year's celebration, a multinational event at the newly opened Josiah Henson Museum and Park.
Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land where I'm bound.
International Underground Railroad Month recognizes the Underground Railroad's contribution to ending slavery here in the United States. Maryland has the most documented successful Underground Railroad escapes, and Montgomery County has many stories of heroism in that effort, including that of Harriet Tubman, Frederick Douglass, and Josiah Henson.
Josiah Henson was an incredibly magnificent man. He definitely helped the Underground Railroad, but Josiah Henson really did much more than that. He was a symbol of hope, of gratitude, of freedom. And today we celebrate that.
And we all enjoy a much more perfect union that was given to us by Henson and Douglass and Tubman and so many others. We have to rededicate ourselves and remind all of our residents that it's our job to do everything we can to create a more perfect union for the next generation.
One of Josiah Henson's descendants, Mia Lewis, spoke of the legacy he left her to live by.
It took me becoming an adult to realize that my family is not the norm. We are the exception. Not because we are perfect, or even better than any other family, but because we were left with an inheritance to pull from, to be inspired by, and to be proud of. Our Uncle Tom. A legacy that we were just not taught, but a legacy that we experienced through the actions of our elders.
Now therefore be it resolved that the County Council of Montgomery County, Maryland hereby proclaims September 1st to the 30th, 2021 as International Underground Railroad Month.
And as Montgomery County is ground zero for this year's celebration, council members say they want to highlight its role in telling this important story and the heroes who helped those escape the horrors of slavery.
It really is a culmination of understanding about the sacrifices that people made to make sure that freedom meant something. But it's also the responsibility, and you see that with many folks that are continuing to crusade for making sure that folks understand why Black Lives Matter, why it is that we need to use our freedom for purpose.
It's a reminder that, freedom was not free, and that for centuries, longer than America's been a country, 12 and a half generations, African Americans, Africans were enslaved on this land. And that has had long-term effects. But it's not just the effects it's had, it's a story of perseverance, it's a story of perfecting the Union, and that's what we're here commemorating.
Well, these are hallowed grounds, and it's so important for us to have a living and breathing monument that reminds us of our past so that we try to not make the same mistakes that we've made in our past. I've brought my children here, and there is just something to be said for a place that you can touch and feel. And you feel the weight of what occurred here so many years ago as you walk through this magnificent structure. And I give a lot of credit to our Parks Department and the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission for honoring the legacy of Josiah Henson and all that that legacy represents.
To learn more about the Underground Railroad and the story of Josiah Henson, you can visit the Josiah Henson Museum and Park Friday to Sunday between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. For more information, visit the website. Last week in Rockville, local leaders recognized the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks by honoring our first responders and the victims we lost across our country and close to home. A somber morning in Rockville as leaders and community members gathered to recognize the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 terrorist attacks that took place that fateful Tuesday morning. The community remembrance not only honored the more than 2,900 victims of the September 11th attacks, but also the lives of 11 people who called Montgomery County home.
I also remember the unity that we all sensed as a nation. We were grieving together, but not just as a country, as a world. And it's up to all of us to honor those lost that day by doing everything that we can, and I mean everything that we can, to honor them by remembering that unity.
The ceremony took place in the Rockville Memorial Park that consists of 11 benches, each dedicated to one of the lost residents.
Carry on, my wayward son.
County leaders read lines from a poem, song, or thought selected by family members, followed by a moment of silence and the placement of an American flag.
And now we remember William Edward Caswell.
Dr. Gerald Paul Fisher, who we remember today.
Captain Lawrence Getzford.
Michelle M. Heidenberger, who we remember today.
Angela Marie Houtz.
We honor and remember Teddington Ham Moy.
Say tribute to my brother 20 years ago. You know, I talked to him in the morning. We talked about the Trade Center being, attacked. And then right after that, I didn't hear from him for the rest of the day.
But he's a hero.
He is a hero to all of us.
In honor of and remembrance of Lieutenant Darren H. Pontel.
Scott A. Powell.
In memory of Todd Hayes Rubin.
Tricia Statz.
Ernest M. Wilcher, who we remember today.
The Food for Montgomery Fund was created to connect more food to more people. Recently, organizations gathered to talk about its success and how this program will continue as a model as we recover from COVID. Over the past year and a half, food insecurity has intensified here in Montgomery County, but thanks to initiatives like Food for Montgomery, thousands of Montgomery County residents have food on their tables. Food for Montgomery is a partnership with the Greater Washington Community Foundation, Manna Food Center, Capital Area Food Bank, other nonprofit and faith-based partners, and Montgomery County.
If you think about what the importance of government is, we are supposed to take care of the least of these so that we can all have a better society and function better together. What's more important in that set of priorities than food? And that's what Food for Montgomery is about.
Councilmember Will Jawando spearheaded a $10.5 million special appropriation to support this effort.
We launched Food for Montgomery as a public-private partnership to leverage those resources to create a stronger food system, right?
food on people's tables, support for restaurants and prepared meals, support for our local farms who are producing fresh fruits and vegetables and getting those to our residents. And I have been blown away. Not only have we raised over $2 million in private support to supplement and support county dollars, we've also strengthened our food system. We've brought new people in. We've supported local small businesses. And it's really something that will continue because the need continues.
Food for Montgomery enables private philanthropy, local government, and our food council to sit down and strategically deploy public and private resources in the smartest, fastest way possible. And that's why we've been able to so dramatically expand access, get people culturally appropriate foods, and just completely overhaul our food security system in such amazing ways.
And the business community has stepped up as well. Washington Gas was one of the first corporate donors of Food for Montgomery, and they are providing this support across the state.
Food insecurity has been an important issue for the organization for many years pre-COVID. Obviously, COVID accelerated the need to offer support to these organizations who were addressing the issue. So we were one of the inaugural donors of this fantastic operation that works to get food from the farms onto the tables of those in need. Food insecurity is an important issue for us. It always has been. And now we're just kind of leaning into the acute need that the community is finding that they're having right now.
Recently, supporters of this unique partnership visited sites where the community is working to build a more resilient food system for residents. At the Red Wiggler Farm in Damascus, a shift was made in programs there to distribute 50% of its locally grown produce to low-income households.
When the pandemic hit, we realized that our education programs couldn't happen in person. And we made the decision really within days. We said, okay, we're going to do something different with our education program, and we're going to focus on providing food for our community. And we set the goal of providing 50% of our total yield to neighbors in need. And we achieved it.
Grants from the program enabled partners to get the transportation and storage they needed to increase their food distribution. At the Up County Regional Services Center, Grace Rivera Oven and her team continue to see the need for assistance on a regular basis.
A lot of our clients are especially single moms who are really struggling. We are seeing also a new clientele, which is the dad's out of work, and he's been out of work for a long, long time. So people have gone through their savings and so on, and now they're really struggling. Food prices have gone up, so that has a huge impact. Gas has gone up, that has an impact. Families that we have not seen in 6 to 8 months, we're seeing back, and it's because of the impact of food prices and so on.
All right, off to do some good.
Councilmember Jawando headed out with the group to make deliveries of fresh produce to a Montgomery Village neighborhood that looks forward to the arrival of the trucks every other week.
Here we are at the Middlebrook Mobile Home community, mostly Latino residents, many immigrants. We've been trying to help them get water issues figured out. They're dealing with a lot of things, COVID rates, health issues. Being able to relieve them, give them some fresh, healthy food consistently. They know every other week it's going to be here.
Let me put it on the floor so it doesn't fall, okay?
If they need services from other parts of the community, they know they can go to the hub. And that fact that we, help seed the money for that with Food for Montgomery, it's a really good feeling. And it's an example of when we come together, public, private, nonprofit, you can get a lot done.
All right, have a good day.
Leaders say they believe this model will continue to evolve as we recover from COVID.
Before the pandemic, we weren't meeting 100% of the needs. And so this crisis really forced us to think outside of the box, to partner in new and really amazing ways. And I think it's shown us what's possible. And from talking to the partners today, it's clear nobody wants to go back. We only want to go forward and make sure that none of our neighbors across Montgomery County have to wonder where their next meal is going to come from. And I know we've got the public will from our elected officials, our government partners, and all of our nonprofits to pull it off.
We've gotten donations as small as $5 up to hundreds of thousands. Everyone was able to contribute. They knew their money was going to help someone who was hungry, but also to build a stronger system so that more people aren't hungry in the future. That work is going to continue.
If you'd like to make a donation to Food for Montgomery, visit their website. Well, that wraps it up for this edition of The Bottom Line. For County Cable Montgomery, I'm Susan Kennedy.